Now they gotta pay attention. Young, some mission. We win it, we win it, we win it. We win it, we win it. We win it, we win it, we win it. I get it, I get it.
Cool.
Damn, now you go get it. Remember they ain't on the list.
Biggest,
Now they gotta pay attention.
largest,
Young,
black-owned
some mission.
and
We win it, we win
operated
it.
podcast station in the world. Yeah. Again, Will Smith, I'm excited about this show, you all. We here to uplift you, to elevate you. We here to help you out. And if I can't help you out, I at least want to try to hope you out. So I told you all on my first episode, I got high friends and high places. So I called in the favor, and with this population, we want to take a look at employment. Finding work. Everybody needs a job. Everybody wants a job. Back in the day, Kool Moe Dee, one of the rappers, he had a song, I go to work like a doctor. Yeah. Everybody wants to go to work. Even the rapper, I never get tired. I can't remember his name. Kevin Gates. I don't ever get tired working. But we're talking about legitimate work, work that you don't have to look over your shoulders. You don't have to worry about the feds confiscating your stuff. We're talking about work where you don't have to worry about going to jail because of what you do. And so, look, I can tell you, I can give you my story, because people say, hey, well, you don't know nothing about jobs. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. Well, and they don't believe my story when I tell them that I done did everything that's legal. The reason I'm a work expert, because I done did it all. I done sold Kirby vacuum cleaners. I worked at Rogers Pontiac selling cars. I done sold knife sets. I done sold smoke alarms. I done sold Subway sandwiches. I worked at McDonald's. I done sold Gusini. There used to be this place called Gusini Shoes on 95th, right off of Western. I was there. You name it. I used to sell movie ad space for companies trying to get them to advertise. You name it, I did. And that's just my selling stuff. They ain't talked about all the other places that I worked at. Doc's Fish, when I was flipping stuff at Doc's Fish. That ain't talking about when I worked at the Hyatt Hotel vacuuming floors and doing stuff like that. Ain't talking, man. I can go on and on to the break of dawn telling you all where I worked at. The struggle was real, and it didn't change until I got tired of being broke. And so I got a whole bunch of stuff I can tell you about ways to find jobs. But I said, let me call in a friend who does this for a living. She got a little bit more history of working with individuals in HR departments, and she's seen things from a different angle than I've seen things. So put your hands together, everybody, for Miss Ivory Snow. Ooh, yay. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Miss Ivory Snow. So this is a real sister, and I can introduce her, but I think I might do a disjustice. But she is able to speak for herself. She is strong. She got it going on, and she's an advocate for the people. Ivory, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I want to thank you for coming on the show. I want to thank you for being one of those people who are committed to helping individuals who are on an incline, who trying to make a change in their life. So let's do this. Tell the people what you do, what you've done, and why I considered you as my expert witness on the show today.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for that amazing intro. Much appreciated. I've been in HR for about 26 years now. Started my career as an HR assistant, and kind of worked my way up what we like to call progressive HR experience, or just kind of climbing my way through the world of HR. I now serve as the Chief Administrative Officer for an organization called St. Leonard's Ministries. And as a CAO, I also serve as the head of HR. And we serve justice-impacted individuals. So anyone who's been has gone through the criminal justice system.
Okay. All right. That's just great. All right. So as the resident, we're going to get right to the nitty gritty, because I promise my listeners always every week that we won't be long.
Yep.
but we will be strong. Yeah, I like that. And so, look, what we're gonna talk about your top three, or we can do your fave five. But for our justice involved individuals, for our young men who've never been involved in the justice system, or just for individuals trying to be on the incline and looking to elevate themselves employment wise. What are some, like, give me one of the things that your key components to being employable? What comes to your top of your
Yeah.
mind?
And just thinking about that question, I also have my own consulting business where I go in and I do manager training, or I'll work with an individual as like a employment coach. And I always tell my clients, paint a picture. Like, employers, they want to know, it's not just about the skills that are on your resume that look good, or I have a degree in this, and
Mhm.
I've worked in this field such and such in this many years. Like, I want to know how you fit into this culture.
Mm.
I want to know about your hobbies. I want to know about what gets you excited, because I want to picture you and my culture, and this culture, with, if you're working alongside other teammates, or like, how do you fit in?
Okay.
How do you fit into the mission and the core values that this agency was both built on, but what we're thriving on? So you want to sell yourself. You want to paint a picture. You want to see yourself inside the culture and the organization when they give you that question. So why, for instance, I'll say, why St. Leonard's? You know, I want to know that you've gone and you've researched that mission and you're passionate about the work that we do, because that's how I want to see you as a part of our culture.
I like that. Paint the picture, and you all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so when we say getting work takes work, she said research. You saying research the company, let them know how to fit in, and so how they would fit in. And so let me ask you this: uh, Does your attire matter for the job interview?
Absolutely. You hear that old saying, and it sounds cliche, like, dress for the job, right? Not the job that you're interviewing for, but for the job that you
But I,
want.
I got on my Jordans. These are new Jordans. These are $200 shoes. You mean to tell me that's not appropriate?
I would say no.
I got on my Gordon Cottrell shirt. Remember from the Cosby Show back then? I
Eh,
got on my Gordon Cottrell shirt. This is a $350 shirt. You mean to tell me, even though it's black over here and yellow over here, with an extended collar there, that's not worthy? I got on my True Religions. This is it. What you're talking about? What I need to look like for a job is it's just a factory job.
Yeah, but you may be going for someone on the factory line or a production assistant, but what are your long-term goals? Because I'm going to tell you this. When I'm interviewing folks, I love the candidates that talk about seeing themselves 5 years from
Mm,
now
mm.
working as a leader in our
I
organization,
see.
because that tells me that's someone that's worth investing in.
I see.
This person is seeing longevity, because turnover for organizations is very costly.
I see.
So do I want someone that just wants a job to work on the on like the service line right now? Or do I want someone that will come to work, and when that job is done, hey, Miss Ivy, y'all need help over in the other department because I see y'all falling behind. Hey, I'm willing to stay and help, a couple hours if needed.
Okay. All right, cool. I like that. I like that. And so if I'm dressing to impress, you saying dress to impress as much professionally and not like I'm going to the club. And so should I wear my fly pink suit with the pink shirt with the pink tie? Is what you think about that? Is that a good combination?
Yeah, if you're probably going to work for Pepto Bismol,
Right, right, right. If you're going to work for Pimps or Us, your pink suit, your purple suit, that's probably good. But what I think I heard her say was paint the picture. And Ivory, that reminds me of my first real job I had. That now that you say that, rest his soul, Kevin Folks. If he wasn't there, I'm only here because he was there, and he gave me a shot, and I rest his soul because that was my guy. I was thinking about him the other day. But I remember when I interviewed for a job. When you talk about my attire, what I had on, it was fly. It was fly. I had on these baggy kind of MC Hammer pants. They were beige. I had on these riding boots with the tie that the string came all the way up and tied at the top. This is for a job interview, y'all. This is when I was young. I didn't know no better. And then I had on this back. If you had on one of these multicolored shirts that they used to wear back in the Cosby, It's a Different World era. And then I didn't have on a tie. I had on what's called like a Texas tie. It's like a little emblem or a thing at the top with two strings. You couldn't tell me nothing. And then I topped it off by I had an anti-shake case, and it was the same color as my pants. And you couldn't tell me nothing. And then I finished it with this belt I had on. It was the belt. All my colors were the same. The pants, the belt, the boots, the same color. And the belt I looped down. It was so long. It was an extra long belt. I looped it down so it pointed down to the floor because it had a gold tip at the end of the belt. And you couldn't tell me nothing. And I say God was in the room because I knew my stuff. I interviewed so many places in front of so many faces. I done sold imitation cologne for $10, so I get $5 of that 10, as my commission. But I remember Kevin asked me the same thing that you said. He said, young man, where do you see yourself at in 5 years? And I said, in your position. And he said, huh? Well, what about me? I said, man, I'm feeling your vibe. I'm listening to you talk. I see all your degrees on the wall. You're going to be able to move on. You're going to mentor me. Then I'm going to take your position. And then you're going to move up. Later on, after he hired me, because they called me Legit. Legit, you know why I hired you? Because that answer that you gave was the best answer I've ever heard. Not only were you talking about moving up, being involved with the corporation and having a vision, but you didn't even X me out. You didn't say, you taking my space and I'm fired or something. You elevated me as well. And that's the type of people that we want. It was a social service agency, and we want people who aspire to help people and elevate themselves, but elevate other people. So I like that 5-year thing and being ready, being prepared, and painting the picture for how you fit in there for the long term. And guess what? I think I like this too. Even if you don't plan on being there long term, they ain't got to know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is a business. So if something better comes along, there's a time that you become a free agent. And if there's a bigger, a better opportunity for you, feel free to take that opportunity. But, you don't, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. That's before your time. You young, you don't know nothing about that. That's Kenny Rogers, the gambler, right there. Okay. All right. And so, all right. So let's talk about so dress is important. So, and you said dress your best. And so, if I don't have a suit, if I don't have a 3-piece, if I don't have this, what would you recommend me trying to do as I prepare for this interview and come in? What's the minimum I should have on?
Right. And you don't always have to have a suit, right? Get you a nice collar shirt. Go to Ross. Go to Walmart, right? Just have a clean, crisp shirt on. Some nice slacks, right? If you can't afford, go to Goodwill. You just want to put an effort in to look your best. And I want to say this too, because as you were talking, when we talk about dressing to impress, that's also your mindset, right? You want to get up early, right? You want to eat breakfast. You want to meditate if you meditate. You want to pray if you pray. You want to be in the best possible mindset when you walk in that interview. So you walk in there with the confidence. So I work with system impacted folks. That's through our workforce center. I know we'll talk about it a little later, but we focus on the confidence that you bring into that interview. And I always tell our participants, guess what? That company put an ad on Indeed or wherever you found that ad because they have a need. They need you just as much as you need that job.
Mm, mm,
So you walk in there with the confidence and you talk about yourself as if you are a gift to that organization, and never forget the skills, right? And what you've learned throughout the time that you've done our job readiness training, because you're ready. You're
mhm.
prepared.
Yeah.
So walk in there like you're the gift to the agency
Mm.
or to that
I
organization.
like that. I like that. I like that. And that's and it's a difference between being conceited, being confident, and even
Arrogant.
arrogance.
Yeah.
In my book, arrogance is not a negative word. Arrogance just means that you have an air about you. There is something about you when you come into the room that's a little bit different than everybody else. There's an air about you. Conceited is when I think I'm better than everybody. I think people are beneath me. But arrogance, I have an air about me. And let me say, I've been in a room with ballers, and I ain't a baller. I'm talking about I just happen to have some friends who got a lot of money. They have an air about them. They have a different swagger about them. And I'm trying to get that swagger. And so but it's okay to walk in with an arrogance about you, a healthy arrogance. There's a book that I'm reading by Will Packard, and it's called a healthy arrogance. Why not me?
Mm.
And he talks about his journey in making movies and willing and dealing and working with these high powered movie execs who have to give him money for movies. And he called it a healthy arrogance when he walks in a room and he presents himself for the movie deal, for the money, for his idea, that they will give him the money about it, because they want to think that you think, if you don't think it's going to be successful, if you don't give off an air that you can do the job, that you can make things happen, that you can handle the moment, then why should anybody
Right.
else? So if you don't believe, nobody else will believe. But you said something else I want to dig deep into real quick. I want to hit it now. You said all the work you have done, the preparation you have done to get you to that moment. So guys, we kind of, most guys know what I say when I talk about it's game day. Game day is game day. Today, college football, tomorrow, the NFL. It's game day. What are you doing? She talked about what are you doing before the game begins on the day of. And we see the players getting off the bus. We see the players with their headphones on. We see the players in the locker room. Some are by themselves. Some are talking to others. We see them as they get ready to run out onto the field. Some have things where they put the cross across their chest. They point up to God. Or they kneel down. They get their heads right so that the game can be tight on game day. But what people don't take a look at is what they've done during the week to prepare for the game. And I want you to talk about the importance of, because you said the word skills, and that plays an important part in you being able to paint a better picture, a more colorful picture about obtaining a job. And you just happen to represent an agency. What's your title at the agency?
So chief administrative officer.
Chief administrative officer. That's a lot of big. Every word in there means boss. All right. If you don't understand what she is, she boss. That she ain't gonna say that. She didn't tell me she is, but I know her. I didn't see her work. I didn't see her move. She bossing up in there. And so talk about the agency and how you all help people prepare to paint the picture for themselves in the interview.
Yes. So I work for St. Leonard's Ministries, which has been around for about 71 years. So it is an organization that serves system impacted individuals. So anyone returning from incarceration. The Michael Barlow Center is under the umbrella of St. Leonard's Ministries. That's the Workforce and Education Center. So out of Michael Barlow Center, um, I serve as kind of like the head of programs, job readiness training, a nationally accredited construction skills program, culinary arts program, computer literacy, financial literacy, digital literacy. We have an adult high school completion program. So anyone who's been impacted by the justice system, they can come to Michael Barlow Center and we can help them along their career path.
But I don't have no money. I mean, y'all talking all that stuff. I can't afford it. How am I supposed to pay for this?
It's free of charge.
It's free of charge. But look, you said a high school. You know, I've been struggling in high school. I mean, is somebody gonna help me? It's the reason I didn't finish. It's the reason why I didn't. I mean, I'm a little intimidated. Can y'all gonna really help me?
Absolutely. So we take a holistic approach. That's the one thing that, what keeps me at St. Leonard's Ministries and the work that we do is the community. And I have this saying that, when folks walk through our door, we wrap our arms around folks. And so even when I think about our high school program, folks come in now. I said we serve folks who've been impacted. So you get brothers and sisters that may have been away 30 years, 27 years. I went in, I was 16 years old.
Mm.
I just got home, right? I'm 50 years old. I've always wanted to get my high school diploma. Now I've reconnected with family. It's important for me to show my grandbaby that Papa got a high school diploma
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
But it's hard, Miss Ivory, because this technology's different. And so we get that piece because we've been doing this work so long. So you got the high school coordinator, you got tutors, you got the instructors, you have a community wrapped around you of support that's built in every step. So when you get stuck, it ain't like you got to send an email to someone to schedule an appointment to help you. We got you.
Mm. So is there a number like I would call? Like, where is Michael Barlow?
Michael Barlow Center is located 2120 West Warren Avenue. So Chicago 60612. So it's probably it's across from the United Center. It's right at Warren and Hoyne. We have an info session every Wednesday at 2:30. Every Wednesday.
I could just show up.
You can just show up and we got you.
Ain't nobody gonna kick me out.
You can just show up and we
Ain't
got
nobody
you.
gonna look like me like I'm a thug and I feel like I don't belong. I'm gonna be welcome.
Not one person.
So let me ask you this: you said a job readiness. I mean, what does that entail? Because I'm ready to get a job. I'm ready to be working. Why should I have to do a job readiness? Man, I've been doing all these job readiness. Everybody want me to go to job readiness. Go to job readiness here. Go to job readiness there. But then I don't get no job, and I'm ready to work. So what does you all's job readiness program entail? Do you all have some type of job placement? And how long is it? And is it really beneficial? Because I just can't be wasting my time. Because ain't nothing going on but the rent. Ain't that what y'all ladies be singing about? Ain't nothing going on but the rent. You got to have a job if you want to be with me. And so I ain't got time to be sitting for weeks on weeks and then don't have a job. I mean, what's going to happen, Miss Ivory? What's going to happen?
So first, brother, you say you ready, but are you ready? Because if you have been to 3-4 job readiness programs and you have not obtained or retained a job, that tells me some going on somewhere.
Is that right?
First of all, but this St. Leonard's Ministries and Michael Barlow, we don't judge, right? So you're going to come through the doors. We're going to have some conversations, right? To better understand how we can best serve you, right? We're about meeting folk where they are, and it ain't just lip service, right? So there are different job readiness programs out there, and everybody does job readiness a little different. Our program is 2 weeks. So in that 2 weeks, yes, we focus on the soft skills, the resume building, the mock interview, but we look at trauma as well. We know who we serve. We get it, right? We want to help break down some of those barriers because trauma a lot of times, right? Because you have not addressed it, it follows you into the workplace. So because we understand that you may come in and you may not be your best self one day within that 2 weeks. Employers a lot of times they ain't gonna care. They're gonna say, leave that at the door. I need you to handle A, B, C, D, right? But if we can address some of that and have some conversations and connect you to our in-house mental health supports that's here so that we can get you working with a therapist while you're here within this 2 weeks and then connect you to an external resource Or if you go to construction and our culinary, which is 10 weeks and 14 weeks, so you're with us a little longer, that entire 14 weeks, you got free therapy where you can go 1, 2 days a week if you want, and kind of talk through some of those barriers that may present, right? Or trauma that may present in the workplace that becomes a barrier, right?
Okay.
Um, I said the mock interviewing, but I think what makes us a little different, or I know what we focus on as a part of our job readiness is the confidence building. Because a lot of times, especially if you've never worked, this is your
Mhm.
first job, right? I may have some anxiety about going into the workforce. So we want to talk about that and help support you in that. So yes, after job readiness, some may go to our skills trade program, which is construction and or culinary. But for those who are not interested in skills trade, we have an employment specialist that helps with employment placement. So we have partners. If folks want to go and get additional trades, maybe that we don't offer, like welding, or someone may want to go to nursing school, or someone may want to just trade school. We help support. We like to call it your what next. Folks, what everybody's what next is different. And we try to help folks in whatever their what next looks like.
Okay, I like that. I like that. So,
Hmm.
skills is important. Everybody, always say that you have to make yourself marketable. And so when we look at the reality of what goes on, to my listeners, again, this is Talking Cool. We on IntellectualRadio.com. I'm here with Ivory Snow, Michael Barlow, representatives, one of the best places that help justice involved citizens in the Midwest. I can say that for sure. And I'm saying that the reason I had her on is not to just look in the yellow pages. Wait, I don't even know if they have yellow pages anymore. I didn't just Google, somebody and see if they had time. As you all know, I was an officer for 23 years. We've sent people there. I've sent people there, and I've seen them make a difference with not just one, not just two. It was multiple people that they've helped, and they all said they treated them well. They were warm, and they followed up with them, and they helped them when they were weak. And she talked about confidence when they didn't think that they can do it, when they didn't think that they can make it. Man, sometimes all it takes is a hug, a smile. And I remember one guy had a reading issue, and they gave him a packet to complete. I'll never and he almost, you can see the tears welled up when he was telling me the story. And he became intimidated and frustrated. Remember, we talked about mental health matters. And so he really wanted to be a part of the program. He really wanted to get started. Then they handed him this packet. And lo and behold, I got reading issues. And how am I supposed to get through all this whole packet? So he was starting to swell up. The worker can see his frustration. But then she said, "Baby, you all right?" And then he said, "This just a lot." And she told him, "Sit here next to me and let's complete this. I'm going to help you." He said nobody had ever did that for him before.
Mm.
Nobody ever took that time. They would have just let me walk out the door and been frustrated in my same state of mind. But she helped me. She took the time. He said she was so sweet. She was so kind. She was like my auntie. And he really appreciated that. And so when I hear stories about that, like that, then I have to, it's my duty to spread the word to the community about places that do what they say they're going to do. And so the Michael Barlow, when we talk about skills, I also want to go into this because guys, it takes skills. That's why people go get degrees. That's why people go get certifications. So the reality of it is that usually you're a minority. Usually you're a male. Usually you live in America. That's 3 strikes right there. Then you've been incarcerated. That's another strike right there. Now, baseball, you only get 3 strikes right now. We got the Brewers just got swept yesterday. The Cubs just got knocked out last week. That's 4 strikes right there. And then when you add, I don't have any skills to bring to the table. So what do I do to make myself marketable? What do I need to do where I need to offset this criminal history thing? And so that's why wardrobe is important. Not walking in there looking like a thug, walking like a thug, talking like a thug, because remember, these people, these are multi-million-dollar businesses. I don't care if it's a warehouse, it's a distribution center, if it's a factory. The managers, the people that's paying people's mortgages, is putting people through college. It'll pay your car note if you get the job. It'll pay your rent if you get the job. So don't look at it as just this or just that. This is big business. I've had people not even want to apply at McDonald's because it's McDonald's. Well, the factory pay $15 an hour too. So McDonald's pay $15 an hour. 15 is 15, no matter where you get it. 40 hours at 15 is the same amount of money. And guess what? McDonald's is everywhere. It's in every city. It's in every state. It's in every town. It's in every country. So if you're gonna work for anywhere, and if for the older guys, if you remember Calvin, Calvin started at McDonald's. He was on the fries. That's back in the day. You're too young for that. But back in the day, Calvin started on the fries. He was sweeping up and stuff. Then he moved up the crew manager. He moved up. Next thing you know, he was not just managing, but he was owning a McDonald's. When you play the game right, people, things start to happen. And he had to get some skills too. So they sent that he went to a hamburger university. And it's a real thing. There really is a hamburger university. So I heard you say something though about one of the programs that I saw, and I want you to talk about it, the construction program, because I was so impressed when I came there to the construction program. And a lot of guys, this is a good program too, because a lot of guys talk about being an entrepreneur, doing their own business. I don't want to work for nobody. Some people don't feel like being bothered with a lot of people. And so the skills that you get, and I met the instructor. I mean, we would talk about some quality guys who are patient, who are kind, who are nice, who treat you respectfully. Talk a little bit about the construction program that you all have over there.
Yeah, shout out to Big John,
Big
our
John.
instructor. Just amazing heart. So the construction program, it's 14 weeks. It's NCCER accredited. So what that means is that it is nationally accredited. So when the participants complete the program, they have a national certification in plumbing, electrical, and carpentry.
Wow. Wow.
Yep. And then so they go to, so it's not an easy certification to get because they have to take modules. So they're on the computers, they have to study, they have to pass a test before they go to the next section of kind of like the curriculum.
Okay.
And so there's the classroom piece. And the cool thing is the last kind of 6 weeks of the class, they're completing that book work and they're going and they build out a mini studio apartment. So that's from the tile, installing the cabinets. They demo it first of all. They frame it out. They put the flooring in. They got tile, little carpet. They installed the toilet. There's the piping, the copper piping. They do a little HVAC. They build out a mini studio apartment.
Yeah, I saw that. And that was so unique to me. And then I even asked him, I said, well, look, brother, I mean, it's like, man, for me personally, and this is for real, I'm like, man, I wasn't good with fractions and stuff in high school. I couldn't stand math. I mean, you're able to show people how to do measurements and things like that. And he was like, yeah, man, we take our time. We really work with you one-on-one. It's not like it's a classroom of 50 or 60 people. So we get the chance to help you in areas that you might need more assistance in, to make sure that you got it down pat, so that when you saw this and when you cut this, it's the right measurement. And I'm like, that is so impressive. So guys, if you looking at, remember the name of the show, we talking about how much work it takes to obtain work. So if you just, now you can't have $1 million dreams with a minimum wage work ethic. So you have to put yourself out on a line and be willing to invest in yourself and put in some work to be successful. It don't just happen. And I know this is a new territory, because you said something really important about being ready and the job readiness program. And so if you've been incarcerated for any length of time, I don't care if it's a year, I don't care if it's 2 years, things change so much in that amount of time. In my book, Ivory, in my book, I mean, these cats, They got it easy today. Because back in my day, and my producer wanted to be back in her day too, and she goes, we had to get the paper on a Sunday, pull out the wanted ads, circle every place that you thought you had to go down a list of where you thought your skill was. It was in alphabetical order. Circle the jobs that you thought you can do. Then you had to get up Monday morning, bright and early. Like the Gap band said, got to get up early in the morning to go find me another job. You remember that song? Got to get, that's before your time too. Got to get up
No, no,
early
that
in the
song,
morning.
right?
Yeah, that's a Gap band, girl. You need to extend your playlist, sister. Extend your playlist. And so early in the morning, you had to go down to the jobs and actually fill out applications. And then leave and hope you made an impression, or they just happened to call you back for an interview. But nowadays, man, you just create an Indeed account, put in a couple of search engines, and right there at your disposal, all the places that are hiring come up in the area according to your zip code, to the skill sets that you put in, and bam. And all you have to do is, if you do a resume on their website, is just hit submit my resume. I mean, that's so easy. I mean, that's so easy, guys. It takes work to get work. And so, so for those who are just as involved, for those who not just as involved, and you looking for how many jobs, this is what I ask my guys. Over the last 2 weeks, how many applications did you put in? And they'll say like 3. I said, well, where you put them in? He said, I put them in 2 weeks ago. Ain't nobody called me back. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's it.
And when you have everything at your disposal, when new jobs pop up on the site every day, you've only put in 3. You're not looking. You're not looking hard. So, what is the motivation that you would recommend people have, Ivory? Being in HR, and motivation. I want you to cover a couple things, because motivation to get the job, motivation to keep the job and not get fired. Because there's a lot of people who can get jobs.
Yeah.
It's keeping them
Yeah.
that they can't do. It's like a lot of cats, they get a girl. She can even be cute. She might have all her hair. She might have all her teeth. She might dress well. She might not. She might not. She might use deodorant and everything. They get her, but they can't keep her. So when it comes to a job, the motivation to get a job that's needed, the motivation or the mindset to keep the job, what is needed for that?
Glad you asked. So I'm gonna say this to like I'm gonna answer your question, and then I want to, if you allow, I want to share a little bit about my own personal story, right?
Share.
Um, so to answer your question, it's a full-time job to look for a job. You have to have that mindset. Putting in 3 resumes 2 weeks at a time, you will not find a job. You have to think about your resume, or your application is probably one of thousands that go in a database, right? And I love the calls that come to my desk saying, "Hi, I saw you had a job listed on Indeed, and I'm not sure if you saw my resume, but I wanted to make sure you knew I was interested." And then they start to sell themselves. Then I hear the passion. Then it makes what? I don't care what I be doing, because a lot of times I got a million things going on. But I may just stop because I got this person on the other end of this phone right now that seems to really want to work and make a difference here. And I'm imagining now this person fitting into our culture. So I'm gonna go into Indeed, and I'm gonna look for that person's name, and I'm gonna pull that resume up, and we're gonna start to have a dialogue, right? And the other thing, when you have to really, you have to like turn that switch in your head and like, what is my why? Why do I want to work? Where do I want to work? One of the things we do in Michael Barlow in our work, in our job ready first day, everybody write a mission statement. So if it's 15, 20 people, and we run a cohort of 25 to 30 a month.
You said write a mission statement.
Mission statement, your personal mission statement.
Like, I don't know what my mission is.
You know, so why? What's your personal why? First of all, we serve justice impacted folks. Why are you now why do you want to do something different now?
Because my PO said it got.
No, but that ain't so if your PO didn't say you need to be here and you need to be on this day, let's take him or her out of the equation.
Well, my mama be on me too because I stay at
Yeah, so you really ain't ready.
ready.
You got to do this thing for you. So I want to know your personal why. What drives you? If it's your baby girl looking at you saying, Daddy, I'm so glad you home and I missed you, and that's your drive, I need you to write that down and put those words so that you keep that at the forefront of everything that you do. Because it's going to be a long 2 weeks, brother. And you got to know why, because every day will be different. So Miss Ivory can't be your motivation because you know if I don't get up, Miss Ivory gonna trip. No, you gotta motivate yourself. You gotta have those words on the paper. You gotta read them every night before you get up in the morning to motivate yourself so that you can do that preparation in the morning. Make that thing happen.
Okay, mission statement. Y'all heard that? What's your mission? If you don't know, if you don't have a clue, get it together. What else were you gonna say? What was your personal
So yeah, I got a fancy title, right? And it may look good or sound good to say, but I grew up in Londale, right? Single mom, had a kid at 17, a lot of chatter about what I'm not going to do, and that's a shame in this, right? But you got to take the naysayers out of your head as well. And God has put just amazing people in my life. And there was a sister I remember who's still my mentor today. But I got a job as coordinator. Like I said, I've grown in my HR career, right? And worked pretty much. I'm on the side, like kind of a secretary, and and I remember she would walk and she had this thing where she would wear these heels, and they say, "Okay, here comes so I ain't gonna say her name, but here comes so and so. You hear them heels, right?" Sister bad though. So coming from where I come from, right? Because I'm Lundale, 19th Avis, 21st in Millard. I'm you know what I mean, 14th Hard, and I got so like, and I'm getting on the bus going to this fancy office and a lot of times when we talk about the clothes, like I had to go to Goodwill and put stuff. I didn't have the fancy labels or no, so I had to kind of figure out how to make myself look like I belong here. And that ain't like being somebody I'm not. That's me striving and aspiring to want more. I never changed who Ivory was, but I knew I wanted more, and it's just important to me. And I remember I would be in meetings and I'm like, man, this sister got all these white men looking up at her, hanging on her every word. And I'm like, man, that's so dope. Dope wasn't even the word then, but I'm like, man. And so I remember like we would go out back in her office because I always have to help her type her notes. I say, her computer's in, I'm on the other side. I say, I want to learn that. I didn't even know how to articulate what I wanted, but I'm like, that stuff that you do, I want to learn. She's like, look, girl, you want to learn this? I say, I do. Teach me. So it's Ivory doing her shift, clocking out, and staying a couple of extra hours just to learn spreadsheets. I didn't even know what Excel was, how to do a PowerPoint presentation, right? How when you talk about, like you talked about the difference of being arrogant and confident. I am absolutely okay with owning a room. I walk in a room like I deserve to be there. Nobody knew my story. You don't have to know where I go home and lay my head at night or the neighborhood but when I'm in this room, you're going to know that I deserve to be here because I'm able to be a part of the conversation because I did the work. So when I'm in the room and I'm sitting among executives, I can sit there like I deserve to be here because I did the work. Nobody gave me anything. But you have to sacrifice. You got to do the work. So when I'm making that $16 an hour being her assistant, right? But I'm getting all this valuable knowledge that she giving me for free because she see this as somebody who wants it. There's so many people that are pour into you. You have no idea. Now at my level, I'm intentional about giving back and helping brothers and sisters. That one, I always say, if you want it, I'll give it to you. Because it's up to us. That teach one, like it's up to us to pour into each other.
Girl, she preaching. All right, I'm ready to play. Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach. Ivory is such a motivation to me, to everybody that's around her. And as we get ready, now you're gonna have to come on the show. We don't have enough time because we just so much that we can get into. And I like everything you were saying about individuals and your personal testimony about. And I'm gonna have a show coming up later. It's called The Off Season, and we get so enamored by what we see guys doing during the game. We see Steph Curry shooting 3-pointers everywhere. We see Michael Jordan dunking all over the place. We see LeBron putting up 20 years of playing the game at the highest level possible. And we see all the money, we see all the glory, we see all the fame, and we want that. But we never really take a look at what these guys do in the off season. Greatness don't just happen. And I heard you say that you gave extra time, that you were willing to absorb things. You were willing to ask for assistance. You were willing to make yourself amenable and humble enough to sit at the footstool of somebody who is willing to teach you and show you the game. And so what I'm saying, guys, is that it takes work. She said it's a full-time job to get a job. And elevation don't just happen. You have to be humble. You have to do your due diligence, and anything can happen from there. So Ivory, I want to thank you again. You know I'm gonna have you on the show again, but I want you to give the address again and the location of Michael Barlow for anybody in the area. Again, this is Talking Cool with Will Smith. I am the hostess with the mostest, and I try not to boast this. And we are on IntellectualRadio.com here in the Windy City. But what is the address for Michael Barlow?
2120 West Warren Boulevard, Chicago, Illinois 60612. That's at Warren and Hoyne Avenue.
Amen. Amen. And remember, check us out next week. And you all know how I end every show. W.E.B. Du Bois. There's no stronger force known to the world than a man determined to rise. We out of here.
I get it. Day and night I go get it. Remember they ain't wanna listen. Now they gotta pay attention. Young, it's on a mission. We win it, we win it, we win. You lost it becoming the king. God bless all the things I done seen. Suspect for murder and robbery right here on side of me, rolling the green. We all had a dream. Flip